Royal shocker. Princess Leonor's secret engagement, the full story. Everyone thought they knew the story of Princess Leonor. The dutiful heir, the disciplined future queen, the young royal who seemed to carry centuries of tradition on her shoulders without faltering. But what if everything you thought you knew was only half the truth? What if, behind palace walls, a secret had been kept from the world, a secret so unexpected, so emotionally charged, that when revealed, it would shake not only Spain, but every monarchy across Europe? That secret is now out. Princess Leonor has been secretly engaged. And this is the full story, one filled with whispered promises, royal defiance, family tensions, and a love that dared to exist in silence until the world was finally forced to listen. How could such a secret have been hidden for so long? How could the Spanish heir to the throne, living under the constant flash of cameras and scrutiny, find the space to nurture an engagement away from the eyes of the press, away even from many in her own circle? To answer this, we must go back to where it all began. The first hints of Leonor's secret life emerged not in Madrid, but quietly, in Denmark. At royal gatherings, at shared events where young heirs mingled, Leonor and Prince Christian began to appear side by side more often than coincidence could explain. Their eyes lingered longer than protocol demanded. Their laughter seemed more personal than diplomatic. At first, the world brushed it off as youthful friendship. But those closest to them began to sense something deeper. The moment that changed everything came during Leonor's military training in Zaragoza. Few realized it at the time, but Christian's discreet visits, shrouded in secrecy, began during those very months. For a future queen in training, every step, every salute, every ceremony was meant to be part of her public journey into leadership. Yet, behind those rigorous days, her heart was being shaped by something far softer, a relationship that, far from weakening her, gave her strength. But here is where the story becomes extraordinary. Engagements of royals are rarely personal. They are carefully arranged announcements, timed to perfection, calculated for political and symbolic impact. Yet Leonor's engagement did not begin with a council, or an official meeting, or even her parents' permission. It began with a whisper, a shared moment, and a quiet promise exchanged far from cameras. Christian had asked, Leonor had said yes, and for months, perhaps years, they carried this promise silently. Why? Why hide what would eventually have to be revealed? The answer lies in the fragile balance of monarchy. For King Felipe and Queen Letizia, Leonor's every step has been about proving her readiness for the throne. To reveal an engagement too soon could have overshadowed her training, disrupted the carefully built narrative of her maturity. For Crown Prince Frederick and Crown Princess Mary, their son Christian too was just stepping into greater responsibility. Both families knew that to announce a union prematurely would risk destabilizing their children's path. So the engagement became a secret pact. Their rings were not visible to the public. Their words of love were carried in private letters, exchanged through trusted hands. And yet, those who truly watched closely saw signs. At a state dinner, when Leonor brushed Christian's hand ever so lightly. At a concert, when their glances met across the aisle, holding longer than royal decorum would advise. These were not accidents. These were pieces of a puzzle that, once fitted together, revealed the truth. When the engagement was finally uncovered, it did not come through an official press release. It came through a leak, an overheard conversation, a photograph taken in confidence, a whisper that grew too loud to be contained. At first, the palace denied it. The Spanish royal house released statements emphasizing Leonor's dedication to duty. The Danish court spoke only of friendship. But as evidence mounted, silence could no longer hold. The world now knew, Leonor and Christian had been engaged in secret. The reaction was immediate. Across Spain, some wept with joy, others with shock. For traditionalists, it was scandalous. How could a future queen conceal such a moment from her people? For younger generations, it was exhilarating. Finally, a royal love story that felt raw, human, and daring. International media erupted. Was this romance truly born of love? Or was it quietly supported behind the scenes as a political alliance between two monarchies struggling to stay relevant? The families themselves felt the strain. Behind palace doors, debates raged. Queen Letizia, fiercely protective of her daughter, worried about the pressure. King Felipe, torn between fatherly love and royal duty, struggled to reconcile secrecy with the transparency demanded of a monarch. In Denmark, Crown Princess Mary, herself once a commoner thrust into royal life, sympathized with Leonor deeply. Crown Prince Frederick, though, knew the dangers of politics intruding on personal choices. Yet, amid these tensions, Leonor and Christian stood firm. Those who have spoken close to them insist their bond is unshakable. They claim the secrecy was never about defiance, but about protection. About creating a sacred space for their love to grow before the world could weigh it down. As the truth unfolded, new questions emerged. When had the proposal really happened? Was it in Madrid, under the shadow of the palace? Was it in Denmark, on a quiet evening near the sea? Or was it somewhere in between, on one of their shared journeys where love transcended geography? None of these answers have been confirmed. And perhaps that mystery is what makes this story even more magnetic. And now, the greatest question of all, what comes next? A secret engagement, once revealed, cannot remain suspended. It demands a wedding, a timeline, a future set in motion. Will the royal houses rush to present a united front with an official announcement, turning scandal into celebration? Or will the weight of secrecy slow the march toward marriage? The implications stretch beyond romance. This engagement signals the merging of two of Europe's most powerful royal dynasties. Spain, with its fragile monarchy still proving its place in modern democracy, and Denmark, one of the oldest monarchies in the world. Together, Leonor and Christian could redefine what it means to be royalty in the 21st century. But with that promise comes pressure. Every move will be dissected, every choice judged. Can love survive under such scrutiny? Through it all, one truth remains undeniable. Princess Leonor, once seen only as the quiet, dutiful heir, has revealed herself to be something far more. A woman of courage, a woman of heart, a woman unafraid to choose love even when it complicates destiny. Her secret engagement may have shocked the world, but it also inspired it. Because in that secret, she proved that behind the jewels and titles, royalty is still human. As we reflect on this revelation, we are left with a tapestry of emotions, shock, admiration, curiosity, and awe. We now know the engagement was real, the love was real, and the secrecy was not weakness but strength. Yet the story is still unfinished. A wedding awaits. A new chapter looms. The secret is out, but the journey has only just begun. So as history watches, one thing is certain: the secret engagement of Princess Leonor is not the end of a love story, but the beginning of a legend.